There, welcome back to the Magic Box project. So in the previous video, we spent time introducing the project and we designed what the Magic Box is gonna look like and how we're gonna build it. Okay, so we have our computer here, we have a motor, a sensor, and a light, and also a battery. So we're gonna start on the lights right now. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is inside our box, I want to grab, let me change my camera view here, I'm gonna grab this. We're going to need the brain here, and then in here we're also going to get one of these. Okay, one of these lights. Alright, so this is a light here, and it's called the LED, and it's got 2 pins, and I want you to notice that one wire here is red and another one is black. Okay, that's going to be important. So before we start using it, let's go back to the whiteboard here and learn a little bit about how this light works. Okay, let's clear that out. All right. So here we go. We're going to draw here a schematic. So schematic is the plan for building a circuit. Now, what's a circuit? A circuit is the path for the electricity that comes out of the battery. Okay. Now, when we create a correct path for the electricity, that is when things work. So for us, we're using a light. When we create the right path or circuit for the light here, the light's going to turn on. All right, so let's make sure we design it or plan it out correctly so that our circuit path works correctly. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we're going to draw our Uno. So Uno, like that. All right, and we're going to have our LED or light, this light, and so the symbol for that is a triangle with a line. All right, now it kind of looks like an arrow, and the reason why it looks like that is because it only allows, LEDs will only allow electricity to go one direction. So if you think of paths or streets, when you're on the road driving, some streets are two-way and some streets are one way, and the reason that some are one way is that it helps with the flow of traffic. For us in this situation, we're talking about electricity. The LED is a one-way street for electricity because it helps with the flow in designing your circuit. Okay, so we have this arrow, which is made with a triangle and the line, and then there's a plus and a minus. Now the plus is up here. I'm going to use red. And the minus is going to be down here. All right. And if you remember, if you look on your bottom right there, our wires here, there's one that's red, so that's going to be plus, and there's one that's black there, that's going to be minus. All right. And then how do we make the path? How do we get this to work? Well, the minus is going to go somewhere called G and D, which is the same as minus. Okay, G and D stands for ground. Anytime that you make a circuit or a path for electricity, there has to be a ground. Okay, and actually anything that we connect to the Uno is going to have some connection to the G and D. And that's going to be called a common ground. The way that I like to think of it is there's a saying that when 2 or more people are talking, and if they actually want to connect, like be able to understand each other, they need common ground. So that's the same situation here. So whenever you're connecting electronics together, if you want it all to work together, you need to all of them have some type of common ground. Okay, so that's how we remember that. Everything's going to have a common ground. Now the plus, though, the plus side will connect to different things. So we are going to actually connect the plus, and I'll use red here. And I'll connect it down here. We're going to connect it to 2. Okay? Now what's up with 2? What is that? 2, I like to think of it as it's a nerve with power. So remember, the Uno is like our brain, right? Controls everything. Well, the Uno, like our brain, also has nerves. So our brain, like my brain right now, has a nerve that connects all the way through my body to my finger that's helping me move this finger. Okay, and also helps me feel stuff when I, touch my finger on things. But there's has to be a way for my finger to get to my head and vice versa. Okay, and from my head or from my brain to get to my finger. So that's like a nerve. So the Uno has a bunch of nerves, and if you look closely, I'm going to change my camera view here. If you look at your Uno here, and we look right here, it starts at 0. Okay, 0, 1, 2, all the way to 13. Okay, so there are 0 to 13 nerves on this Uno, and that makes 14. Okay, there's 14 different nerves. You might say it ends at 13. How come not 13? Well, because it starts at 0. There's actually 14 different nerves. So we're going to use nerve number 2. So nerve number 2 is going to control the electricity on for our light. Okay. All right. Now you might be thinking, all right, that's cool, but what about the heart? We talked about the heart is super important, right? So let's go back here. Do we need a heart? Well, yes, we do. Okay. So let's, because then nothing's going to work without the heart. You got a brain, but no heart. That's not going to work. So we're going to draw our heart here. Plus and minus. All right. And I'll draw the minus. So the minus is going to be connected to the common ground. Remember? Everything needs to be connected to the common ground, including the heart, of course. And then the plus is going to go into there, okay? Into the brain, because we need power for the brain. We need quote-unquote electricity for the brain, or for us, blood for our brain, okay? Now, where's that going to come from? If you look into your kit here, if you look on the bottom right there, there's this battery pack, okay? This, you can put 5 AA batteries into it, and then this, well, eventually you could plug it into this socket here, okay? So that's a way to power your Uno, your computer here, without a computer, but we're not going to do that right now. I'm going to leave this with you so that you can play with that later. Today, what we're going to do is actually use the USB cable. So you have a cable in this kit. It's most likely blue. I have one that's black here, but we're going to connect it to the USB right here. Okay. So and we'll do that in a second. But going back to my drawing here, what we have is that this is the USB. Okay, and little trivia, all the USB ports, okay, when you plug in a USB cable to your computer and then you're trying to get power or a battery power from your computer to whatever you're plugging into, like the Uno in this case, there's always a certain voltage. Voltage is like the amount of power. It's always the same. Do you happen to know what it is? It is 5 volts. Okay, so we're going to get 5 volts of power from the USB. So when you plug in your cell phone to charge, you connect it to a computer or one of those things that you plug into the wall to charge your phone. It's always going to be 5 volts. Okay, so that's convenient. That's why you can connect so many things to the computer, and it's all good. It all uses 5 volts. All right, so now that we have that, let's see. We have our design here, our schematic. Let's see if we can build this thing. All right, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit so we can see on the bottom right there our design as I do this. All right, so first let's make sure this is disconnected. We don't want to plug anything into the computer here, our Uno computer, with power plugged in, just in case we make a bad connection. We don't want something bad to happen. Okay, so it's disconnected from the USB. Let's get our light here. Okay, and then what we want to do is inside our kit, we want to get the pin to socket connectors. Okay, so that's going to be these. Mine have come apart a little bit. Yours might not have come apart yet, because I was messing around earlier. Okay, but this pin to socket. So what it looks like is a socket on this side, and then a spike or a pin on that side. All right. Now let's go ahead and get a black one. There's different colors. A black one here, and then also a blue one. Okay. All right. And then we'll go and get our connector here, or our LED, and let's go black to black. So black lines up with black. Let me move this out of the way here. Black to black. Okay. And then take the blue one and connect it to the red one. There. So it should look like this, okay? Black to black, red to blue. All right, now we take our Uno, right? And then let's make those connections. So looking at our schematic drawing, what do we have? We have the plus of the LED, if we're looking on that. The plus of the LED goes to 2, nerve number 2, right? Now we connected the blue wire to the plus, okay? So this blue wire needs to go into number 2. So if we look here, where's 2? It's right here. All right, so you find the white writing, number 2, and then you match up. You see there's a silver hole. You could put it in the silver hole, but it doesn't stay. So what you want to do is put it in the black hole right next to it. So it would be this one. Make sure you can see that. Okay? Number 2. Now, a tip when you're putting these in, they should go in pretty easily. If it doesn't go in, you should like just wiggle it a little bit. Don't try to force it, because if you try to force it and it's not aligned, you might break the pin. Okay? All right, and so that's a number 2. Cool, it's a number 2. All right, so that connection is done. Now if you look at our schematic drawing, the minus of the LED, connects to G and D, the common ground. So let's look here. We have a G and D. There's a G and D right here. Okay. There's also a G and D over here, and then another one down below. So we got 3 G and Ds. I'm gonna go with this one up here. All of them are fine. Remember I said when you connect stuff to the computer, they all need a common ground. The reason why there's so many of those G and Ds is because a lot of things need to connect to the G and D. Okay, cool. So now we have it wired up. The next video, what we're going to do is we are going to send a personality. Well, we're first going to turn it on, okay, and then we're going to send a personality and memories, that kind of stuff, the code into the brain, so that we're going to be able to turn on the light. Before I sign off, let's put in this USB. So one side, again, your cable is going to be blue, mine is black. Put one side into your computer, and the other side into here, and make sure it clicks in. And you see I have 2 lights that came on. You might only have 1 light come on. That's okay. You just make sure you have at least 1 light come on, okay? And it should be solid like that. One of the lights should be solid. And if that's the case, you're good. One of these lights might be blinking for you. That's okay, but there should be at least 1 light. And specifically, there's one that says on next to it. See the white? It's kind of hard to say. Yeah, white writing. It says on. Okay. That one should be solid, just on. Okay, so make sure you're clicked in. So these lights are powered on to show you have power to the computer, the Uno computer, but this light is not on. Why? Well, the reason is we didn't send the code. We have to send it code so that it can then know to send a signal through the nerve to turn on the LED, which is connected to nerve number 2. Okay? So the next video, we're actually going to do that. Bye-bye for now.